Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures, Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic, mythology and magical belief, curse or blessing for wildlife, presented by NatHab Expedition Leader Arpita Dutta. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. Over to you, Arpita.
Thank you so much, Rob. And thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in today. So this thing came to my mind because I think we all are somehow very much related and have some beliefs. We really care about animals, and that's the reason why we all are here. And that's the reason why we, even after having like pets, we do believe that being in the nature and seeing the animals in their natural habitat means a lot to us. And this is not a now time thought process. I think from early times, humans have been fascinated by the animals. The fabulous real life creatures described by different people in different period or era gave a strong, like mythical or mystical creatures in front of us and developed different types of bonding with them. So even among the indigenous people, they believe the power of the wild animals with the forest. Like a lot of this is a picture from India uh, of the indigenous people who actually worship forest and their creatures. For here, for an example, there is a tiger god in India. So in that way, even the indigenous people are quite related with the power of the wildlife, which they are coexisting with from not from now, but from many centuries. And the natural rhythm of like common among indigenous people is just of the many ritual actions that humans live in harmony with the animals. And the human psychology of magical creatures come to a lot of way. Like if when we think about a dog, we think about a loyalty, a single-minded focus like hawks, and a protective, fearless mother towards their babies as the wolf or taking care of the pack. So somehow we always give an example of the animals, whichever we see, to express those symbols or those powers. Of course, when we talk about power, we cannot say that the fabulous creature is a powerful symbol. Like many mythical based act as a psychological power icons, just like the phoenix, the symbol of renewal and transformation. And we have so many stories and with and I think all this mythology, magic, and the mythical characters have make no boundaries. It is not restricted to a certain clan or a certain area. It is like spread throughout the world, and people believe in so many things. In somewhere they have been treated, like God, or a power. Somewhere they had been treated like evil. So with this, we have another fascinating character nowadays, like unicorn symbol, bottles, school bags. They have so many things. Even the earphone, with those puffed thing have a unicorn. So it's very fascinating to think about it. And all the stories our grandparents, or from their grandparents used to discuss, or just a storytelling session happens. And I think from the very young age, we are embedded with all those stories, and we kind of imagine a life like that. So the power symbols has so many creatures which has nothing to do with science. Why I'm saying this? Because research, when we talk about a research work, it is more related to the animal, the environment, the ecology, the community people. But then there was no point of all this mystical character or the mythology which we have heard, maybe of the same type of animal but in a different shape and form. Of course, the animals do have that shape changing to human as well. But gradually, with over the years, the researchers have understood that these characters had a lot of importance for conservation. And gradually, we will talk about that. So that shape changing is there. We know the centaurs in the Greek mythology, the half man and the half horse, and of course the Proteus, the Greek mythology was the sea god. Like and we also have dolphins with that. Like when we see a dolphin, it's like an iconic symbol of the sea creature or the divineness of the sea god. So this life form changings are there, and with that, people in different communities, they have this totem of different types of animals, like beaver, which has been used as a wild, wise builder, and to take care of the family, the sense of the responsibility. The eagle, we always say that it's an eagle eye, like you see the whole area with a perspective, like far distance vision. And the frog, it's like a new life, or the communicator. Let me tell you, when I talk about the frog, just for last few years, one thing is happening in India, which is one of the craziest thing I have heard, is where there is not the land which is not getting much rain, they are catching frogs, and with a proper ritual, they are like people are making them narrate to each other, so that when the frogs mate, the rain, the monsoon must come in. So yeah, there are a lot of funny stories with it. And then the hawk, which is the strength, like possess the strength and a messenger. Of course, we have seen in many stories, and it was there already. I mean, it was existing that people use hawk for sending the message from one place to another. That time we didn't have internet or the telecommunication by anyhow. And the owl is always taken for wisdom, like a very watchful perseverance, and also it is associated with the death. And the crow, the raven, is also symbolized that the cleverness, adaptability, the dread, transformation. We see all this in the very ghost movies, or in very thriller movies, or in any chronicles which is related to the dark side. We see the black crows are moving around, or sitting in the very like leafless tree. So some way the other, in the stories and movies, we keep on bringing these animals to it. With this, I would say this is the whole thing about the magic, mythology, and the superstitions. So this could be a blessing for the animals and could be a curse as well. And we know that we have almost lost like 55% of the animals in last 50 years. It's like we are living in the sixth period of mass extinction, and the rapidly how it is like quickly defending is like almost 1,000 times faster than the normal. So of course, and these are the things which are also related with the missing, or with the decreasing the number of, or declining number of the species. So yes, let me start with Indian mythology and the belief, which comes the snake. The snake has, not only in India, I think snake is related with so many countries, but I would like to bring up stories here. So snake worship is a tradition being followed in India since ages. Even we have seen in some cave paintings, which are like 10,000, 15,000 years old, maybe. We have seen snakes in different forms and ways. And so in say like in present ages, it is there in several ancient cultures where snakes are portrayed as an entity of strength. Due to snakes like nature of casting its skin, it's also symbolized life, rebirth, resurrection, regeneration, and also because of the power it has, like the death it has, it carries. So it's like the destruction is also out there. But these idols make worship, especially in India. There are a lot of Hindu temples or houses. Snake idols are, I mean, we have an image which are carved on rocks, and they have huge temples as well. And these idols and imagine are worshipped with flowers, with light, milk, and there is a belief that snake drink milk. So in some festivals, it happens that people offer snakes. Yeah, soon you will see that. And snakes are as snakes are very closely related with the Hindu, one of the strongest and greatest Hindu god, Lord Shiva. You can see here, Lord Shiva has like a garland. He has kept the snake around his neck, and and of course, this is the Vishnu, the lying Vishnu on a snake bed, like a snake with a lot of head and coiled up, and which forms like a bed. And Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, is like lying out there. And this one you will actually get to see in Bandhavgarh National Park when we do our Grand India trip. So you can imagine, like, it is so much associated that you come across these things almost everywhere you come to India, and you will see a lot of religious factors which is related with the animals. And here we have this rituals like snake people are scared of, because they have venom. Though in India, 88% of the snake doesn't have venom, and out of this 20 like 18%, few are mildly venomous, which really don't affect the human life, and few are really like highly venomous. But these are the cobras which people do worship, and at the same time, the people who are getting them is getting the snakes from the wild, and of course, it's an earning method for the people. And of course, the belief in people are making this thing happen. And especially the snake charmer. I mean, I have no idea since how long this thing have been carrying on in India. Like the snake charmers and all the cobras, would be raise their hood, and it says that it is listening to the tune of the player. But snakes don't have ear, they only feel the vibration, and because he moves the hand in front of the head, so according to that they actually move their hood. So people believe in all these things, and due to that, the snake have to face a lot of trouble. Imagine when a snake is kept with the charmers, they have the venom gland. No matter how much venom they extract, the venom gland would produce venom again after a few days. So what they do is, you can see here. Oh, I mean, this is very disheartening, the picture, but this is how they pull out the snake gland. I mean, they tear the snake gland from there, and they stitch the lips so that they cannot open the mouth. And of course, the snake cannot eat, cannot drink, and that's the reason why they get killed. And of course, there are abundance of snake wherever the charmers bring them, so they get a new one when this one dies. And because they have to stitch, because sometimes they put snake around the neck of the people and say that this is the blessing of Lord Shiva. At the same time, the people believes that that's a blessing, or that's something when you touch a snake or put your snake around your neck, it gives you a lot of. And of course, the snakes are also a symbol of fertility. So a lot of women in the rural areas, they still believe that. And there are other beliefs that they are the disciples, or they are so closely related with Lord Shiva and Vishnu, that people don't kill them even if they see this big snake around their house. They call for the rescue teams and ask to take it and safely release back to the wild. So both the things go hand in hand with this belief and with this like mythology, keeping mythology or the god in mind. Next, I would like to come to this beautiful, like, I hope you all would believe that owls are the most enigmatic creatures in the wild. Mostly they are nocturnal hunters and have a like screeching voice or the calls. With that, there are lots of superstitions and taboos attached to them. And there are more than 200 species of owls, and almost 40% of this 200 species are associated with any of the folklore or the mythology, or any kind of thing which is attached the human belief or mind throughout the world. And with when we call the throughout the world, and of course we have seen the owls in Harry Potter's. If we can relate with the messenger or carrier, we can definitely remember Harry Potter's. And for the children, I think Harry Potter is a big character. For me too, even I love that magical world. So with that, and this is a mortal wood owl. And imagine at night, if this big owl is seen with this reddish eye, what you see here, yeah, it looks scary, but they are actually very fascinating. At the same time, the folklores, not only in India, I'll come to India later. So there are in Japanese folklores, the woman varied, like according to the kind of owls. It's not only the owl. That's what I say, that 40% of the owls are associated with any of the folklores or the belief. Just like the eagle owl, which you have seen here. This is the eagle owl. So eagle owl are like the messenger of God, which symbolize the wisdom and the favor from God. So when you see that owl, you know that some good things or good omens are there around you. And the screech owl are to be believed that they are the friend of the hunter, and the horned owl call brings the misfortune. And in New Zealand, the white owls, most probably the burn owl, seen in the Maori tradition as a guardian spirit, and which is a noble ancestor. So this has so many beliefs, and this is a spot-bellied eagle owl from India. In central India, sometime at night, it is very difficult to spot this owl. Very difficult. Like you might come across 50 tigers, but in a year. But this owl, maybe in 2-3 years, you might be lucky to see this, because it stays in a very thick forest, in a broadleaf forest. But this owl, whenever people see this, they get killed, or if they can reach out, they get trapped. Because at night, if you any day at in the jungle at night, if you could hear this, the call of this owl, my God, is so creepy. I mean, it seems like a woman is calling out for help, or just making a noise, which is no less than a horror movie. And person who doesn't know that this is a call of a bird, trust me, it will give you goosebumps, or it will just numb your spine. But yeah, with that, uh, and in spite of like, owls are very much, I think they keep a balance to the ecosystem. Like, they feed on the rodents, which can, and in India, most of the areas are the agricultural land. A lot of people are depend on agriculture, and of course, one of the highest producing of rice and wheat. So imagine how much paddy field would be there, and how many rodents would be there if these owls are not there. So they kill these rodents, small snakes, and other insects. So of course, they are the cleaner of the area. With the same time, in India, owl is the carrier, or it's called the Vahan of goddess Lakshmi, who is the god of wealth. And in somewhere, it is believed that seeing the owl, especially this white owl, the burn owl, it's a lucky charm, that if it sits on your roof or at your terrace, that means a lot of wealth or prosperity is coming to your house. So in that way, it has been protected. And but it is very unfortunate that this bird has a lot of connection with the magic. And I think after cat, it is considered the magical properties, which is like what the bad luck, or bad luck to death. And owls are considered as the second most creature which has been associated with magic and witchcraft after cat. And immense, though they play an important role in the ecosystem, because of that belief of the witchcraft and stuff, because the tantrics who practices the witchcraft in here, they take all the body parts of the owl. So they are in big demand for this, especially the eagle owls, the bigger one. And this is become the fortune for this beautiful, elegant creatures. And with that, but some organizations, and of course individually, as we're associated, whenever we get the information, or when we get to seize, like treating them and releasing them back into the wild, I think the biggest pleasure or the satisfaction you get, and spreading the awareness that it has nothing to do with the black magic, or nothing can bring good like prosperity in your life by killing this beautiful species. So yeah, a lot of animals are saving them, and some of the only few of the animals are fortunate enough to be seized by the Wildlife Crime Control Bureau and Forest Department and other NGOs who are working. And then after the treatment, they had released back into the wild. But still, the belief of this witchcraft and magic, I think, is killing this species, and the awareness should be spread throughout, and definitely pretty fast enough. Otherwise, we would lose it. Then comes, of course, when I'm talking about there should be like a turtle or a tortoise in it. So here, when we talk about the Malagasy people. In Madagascar, there is a lot of magical and this rituals are there. So the local Malagasy people believe this critically endangered radiated tortoise is sacred. They even refuse to like touch or to pick it up, or wherever they are they just leave it. Maybe they are working in the field or somewhere, they find a tortoise, they would leave it in that place and they will do it. I mean, they will do their work because you know, the spiritual belief they have. But at the same time, this radiated how they become like critically endangered, because there was a time when there were plenty of population around that area, but right now we are counting the numbers, because those indigenous people, they follow the rule. They don't believe that the outsiders who are coming to see the turtle or to pick the turtle up from there, they have to follow the rule. So for that, they don't even interrupt or intervene when the foreigners harm or move the tortoise from that area. So there is a big racket of wildlife traffickers rather, who actually collect a lot of this tortoise for the pet trade around the world, because radiated tortoise is in very high demand in the pet trade. And of course, because the Malagasy people think that they have the ancestors' soul in it, they respect, but that respect is that their respect is saving the species, but their belief that the outsiders doesn't need to follow the rule, they don't say anything. And because of that, look at this amount. In 2018, within 7 months, more than 17,000 radiated tortoise were seized in southwest Madagascar from the wildlife traffickers. And even, you know, the first seizure where it happened, it is just what the second seizure happened just 43 miles away from the last crime scene. So this, on out of this, as soon as they have been rescued, they are here. Almost near about 200 tortoise died because how ill they have treated, while because they start collecting and keeping these turtles at one point, and after when the number is that they have reached to a certain number, then they start dispatching it to the different areas. So yeah, this cannot be the fortune of this beautiful tortoise, especially when it is critically endangered. And trust me, it didn't stop in 2018. Till date, we get to, like as an exotic species, we get to see radiated tortoise here in India as well. So yeah, the belief and the rituals and the fortune of this tortoise, and I hope, but of course, a lot of insensitization is happening related to the radiated tortoise. That's the reason you could see those Malagasy women who have been like kept a hand on the tortoise back, that they have started believing, and the conservation is happening with their belief that if this is your ancestral soul, then you have to protect the species from the people who are trying to cause harm to this beautiful tortoise, to your beautiful, like your ancestors. So that's how the conservation things have brought up a lot of awareness among those people. With that, again, another creature of another animal of Madagascar, the lemurs. And meets and associates testify that it's a like it has a rich relationships human have had with lemurs. I mean, not now. It's been running from ages. Like founding ancestors, benefactors. Among or the holiness or the bad luck, keep lemurs occupy many status to the Malagasy people out there. In some traditions are their like weakness, because they believe that their ancestor souls are trapped, or they have been like a reincarnation of, but not all the lemur species are, very few species have been treated like that. So they get the protection, but a very unfortunate one who has nothing. And I think it's such a like cute looking animal. I don't know how it is been termed as evil, and the symbol of misfortune is the eye. And lemurs, in all the lemur species, they breed once in every few years. So the taboos are actually decreasing their population, and because of the other migrant who are coming there, they don't believe, I mean, who doesn't have the belief or who doesn't belong from that clan, they can hunt the lemurs as well. And people believe that even if they see an eye, that will bring misfortune, and believe that eye will murder the occupant in their sleep with their long, slender middle finger. So unfortunate, because this little creature used this middle finger to take out the grabs in between the trees. It becomes easier because they don't have that muscle formation in that thing, so that they can enter, they can put their fingers into a smaller crevices as well. As a deeply poor nation, they believed that killing an eye, if they get to see it, killing an eye and hanging them around the roadside, and people while going like on the way or in that village, they will be saved from the eye of an eye. So this is definitely makes a big difference. But at the same time, the people, I mean, when we do the tourism, the ecotourism is likely to like make this belief into some fortune things, because when people are coming to see the lemurs and to see the creatures, people are of course getting a lot of sustainable livelihood. And for that, I think someday this factor in Madagascar would definitely bring some positive vibes to the conservation of the lemurs out there. So while the tourism is happening, a lot of conservation programs are happening. Children are getting introduced to the lemurs as an animal and their social life and their social life and their way they are living. They're doing good to the ecosystem. I think slowly, gradually, things are changing out there, but the AI thing has been a belief, and it has been continuing for a lot of like many centuries. So it might take some time, but we are seeing a good hope in Madagascar because of the tourism. uh, People are focusing on saving them rather than hunting them. So with this lemur, I would bring another beautiful looking primate, which is the Bengal slow loris from India. This is restricted to the northeastern part of India, and also it has been found in the Indo-Malayan border as well. And they are endangered in the IUCN status, because a lot of hunting, killing for the pay, not for the pay trade, but trade is happening for its body parts. And also in most of the tribes, they believe, I mean, this gets saved in most of the tribal folklore, because people believe even if they get to see a loris, that brings a misfortune, that brings evil. So I mean, they don't even think of touching it. They don't even look at it. So in that way, even in the remote areas, this creature gets saved. But again, in some hunters who doesn't believe in this, and of course, when there's a commercial aspects added to this thing, that people buy the body parts for God knows what reason. And for them, the money comes in a much powerful way than saving the creature. So of course, the hunting keeps on going on. This we got to. This is from Nagaland, one of the northeastern state. We got to rescue it from the house who have kept it maybe to sell it off. And just look at the loris and how badly it was treated. It was bleeding from nose, it got injuries in the belly, but somehow, thankfully, we got a chance to treat the animal and then releasing it back. And of course, with illegal pet trade and hunting, the habitat destruction is also another factor why we are losing this animal. But anyhow, as I said, the forest department and a lot of organizations are also working with loris, and this is how things are happening, that after rescuing, the releasing back into the wild in their natural habitat, it's bringing at least a little hope for the species. And it is, I mean, just think about it, how these beautiful creatures, I mean, we don't even come across these rhinos, lion, tiger, all these things. I mean, there are so many other creatures who have been like, because of the taboo or belief, who have been like losing their lives just like that. With that, imagine loris, lemur, tortoise. These are something, big, strong, stealthy, good looking or ugly looking, a lot of things. Imagine there are a lot of beliefs with butterflies. I mean, how do we feel? Imagine when you visit or when you make the trip in Mexico, I mean, to see the great migration of the monarch. There are millions of monarchs are there and they're fluttering around you. How do you feel? I mean, how your heart gets lifted with happiness. And of course, I love to see that. I mean, of course, in summer, during after just when the summer is approaching, after the winter, when the butterflies comes out, when the sun is rise, I always keep on counting, okay, this species we have got to see today, including the other important or the enigmatic animals we get to see. This is how we love butterflies. But in some beliefs, um, like the caterpillars represents a lifespan, like you are moving the life. The cocoon like equates the death, because once the caterpillar is out, the butterfly becomes the soul or the fluttering away to the next stage of spiritual development. And with the even if we take out those, butterflies, I think, is a friend for the ecosystem because of their pollination, like pollinators. And with that, when you see a lot of species of butterflies in one area, you should know that habitat is very rich, because butterflies use their nectaring plant, roosting, hosting. So they have different, they need different plants to complete their life cycle. So imagine when there are a lot of species, when there are a lot of other particular species of trees around that area. So it's a very good thing to see a butterfly. But in some areas, like butterflies are thought to be like, especially in Russia, the butterflies are thought to be the witches in disguise. So sometimes, yeah, in I think in previous, I mean, in the ancient times, butterflies were killed in those areas. But in some areas, butterflies used as the wheel of fortune. They represents the soul. And the Greek, I mean, we know Aristotle. So Aristotle actually named the butterfly Psyche, which means the soul. And even in butterfly and in India, butterfly, has been represents the meaning of wedding or marriages. So these all things are related not only with the bigger animals but with smaller insects as well. So seeing just like in Japan they see the white butterflies. If you see or get to see a white butterfly, that means it is bringing good luck and good fortune to your family or to yourself. So yeah, there are a lot of related things happens with this butterfly as well. With the butterfly, let me go back to another animal which is not very popular among the other I mean, if we consider it in the other wildlife thing, like lion, cheetahs, or other big cats. They're not very, people don't focus on them because maybe they are scavengers, their cackling laugh, and their physical appearance, which is, I do believe, which could be less graceful. I mean, when I compare it, of course, when I see an animal, no matter what, I find them very graceful all the time. But yes, that happens. So we generally don't expect to live with a carnivore alongside, instead looking at them in the wild. This happens, especially when it's a hyena. I think a lot of people will give a thought to it. But in Ethiopia, people are living in harmony with hyenas, the spotted hyenas. In the city of Mekelle, the hyenas are the non-villains out there. The spotted hyenas live with the villagers there. But though they have a positive significance of reducing the disease out there, people do carry stones not to hurt them, but in case they have to defend them, they carry stones at night whenever they are moving at night. Because I mean, people use the town during daytime, but at night hyenas came from natural areas around the town into the city to feed on the carcass and the waste left out by people. When the bigger animal dies, it is left out on the roadside, and it is an effort for the people to put it or to dig the hole and bury the whole carcass. So they just leave it. And imagine from that, a lot of disease. Like around that area, there were around 210 spotted hyenas, and the decrease of disease like anthrax and bovine tuberculosis, which can kill around 6,000 people and more than 500,000 cattle annually. But that population of hyenas almost feed on this waste every year, which is around 207 to 210 tons. So I think that has given them a lot of positive belief to the people that by scavenging on them, they are cleaning they're actually cleaning their societies around them. And also they are, sorry, I forgot to change. So this is how they keep the thing cleaning. And this society also believe in a small clan, they also believe that hyenas eat evil spirits. I think maybe because of the look or the way, and they spread supernatural messages through their howls. And due to that belief that they eats up the evils, people do take care of them. And in one area, from generations, people are that family and of course the associates, they are feeding the hyenas. Because sometimes what happens when they bury the people, when they die, the hyenas used to dig and scavenge on that. And they say that after started feeding them, the hyenas have stopped feeding on the human dead bodies, and at the same time they have become more accustomed with the human presence, and they are living they're living their life in harmony with the hyenas. I think that one thing which is very related with the science, that it actually clean those area and reduce the chances of getting infected by the diseases, and with the belief that they eat the evil, and that's the reason why they don't need to kill the hyenas, because the evil should not like prevail in those area, is saving the species. With the hyenas and everything, I just would like to talk about one turtle species I personally worked on and working on, is another critically endangered species in the northeastern part of India. So here what happens, it's called, I just said that the temple turtle tail. Imagine before 2021 January, it has been thought extinct from the wild. Only few population were remaining into the temple ponds, because uh, in India, in Hindu religion, the turtles are the avatar of Lord Vishnu. So people believe that leaving the turtle into the temple pond, which that temple has to be of Shiva. Shiva is a god of anger, destroyer, and Vishnu is more calm and quiet person. I mean, sorry, God. So they believe that if they release the turtle into the temple pond, Lord Shiva will always put blessing around, blessing to the people, rather than getting angry no matter what they have done. So there is the ritual in the temple pond. There are hundreds of turtles in that whole state. There are near about 22 temple ponds, and these black softshell turtles have been only like the only population which were there. People donate to bring prosperity. Suppose somebody has their like they got son or daughter, and they will buy turtles from illegally, or whenever there is a monsoon, the hatchling comes out, and they will catch the hatchling without leaving it into the wild. They will catch the hatchling and they will bring it to the temple pond and release them back into the wild, and feeding them what they should not, because they are carnivores or omnivores, you can say. But bread is not the thing. But in temple, you cannot bring any non-vegetarian stuff. So this is the thing what they feed in, and that's the reason why the turtles were having a lot of diseases, and they get contaminated with the presence of so many human diseases. But with that temple thing, we, after a lot, by taking that belief of God, we could reach out to people saying that how could you put your God into prison? Because temple, no matter it's a temple pond, but after putting into the temple pond, the God is not getting chance to go around, or to mate, to like spread the prosperity into the other areas. So whenever you get to see a small turtle or anything, you release it back into the wild and worship them into the wild and release them back, rather than putting them back into the temple pond. Even the temple pond people, they couldn't believe that they were not ready to release those hatchlings which were hatched in the temples. But after a lot of, I think, a lot of tenacious year of awareness and work, now they have agreed, or rather they are getting into the conservation by thinking that Lord Vishnu should be there out in the wild, rather than being in the temple and getting contaminated and die in the temple pond. So yeah, this belief in mythology, this belief in God in religious way, we are actually this, I mean, it is helping in conservation. And with this conservation, not only the species label, but humans are also getting benefited with that. In the year 2015 in Scotland, almost 350,000 people flocked to Loch Ness in the Scottish Highland. I mean, that is a mythical character which has longer neck which has a flipper, and it has been shown that it has been seen in 2015 in that area, and there were so many people were gathered there. So imagine all the restaurants, hotels, gift shops, they have generated a lot of revenue which is drawn into conservation and the management of that area. And the belief can also save a lot of things. In Iceland, a proposed new highway have been like shut down because a lot of environmentalists claimed that would disturb the wildlife, and the belief of those people in Iceland of the presence in that forest area, like the mythical elves out there, have stopped that highway to be brought there. Imagine the belief and things, how strongly things can happen. And when we talk about the strong things, the last, we have to speak about the elephant god, and in India, who in every religion, in every Hindu religion, Lord Ganesha, who has a body of human and a head of an elephant, and he has been treated like any religious factor. No matter which god we are about to worship, we have to start the worship have to start the worship by offering Lord Ganesha the first chant in this whole process. So of course elephants are thought to be the disciples of Lord Ganesha and give a lot of priorities. Just imagine during the festival, this is only US seeing, I think, 0.001%. I mean, the whole area gets flooded with people during Ganesh, like Lord Ganesh festival. But at the same time, again, uh, two things happen. In some areas, no matter what, that's been treated as God and stuff. But when it comes to like financial things or the loss of their habit or the crops, of course people get furious. And because of the degradation of the forest, elephants do come down to the agricultural field when the like field get on the when the rice or the paddy get ripe or ready to harvest, they come down to feed on them, and there the people oppose, and a lot of man animal conflict keeps on happening. But still the belief that Lord Ganesha is associated with the elephant is associated with Lord Ganesha. Sometimes they leave them and just they sit and pray in front of the elephant to leave their land and to move back to the forest. So I think there are a lot of beliefs and things keeps on happening, and you know, for the conservation thing, it's not only to know about the animals. I think knowledge is the power. Whenever you come across this kind of things which have a mythology, which can bring good omen, not for the human but for the animals, we need to inform our friends and families, and just to let them know that what is going on and why we are in a crisis and why we need to save these animals. And thank you so much for listening to me, and I have to keep it short because there are so many, and but I hope this will bring you more I mean little interest at least to like know about more. Search in Google, read a lot of books on mythology, and try to bring out a lot of other conservation stories by what we can save an animal just by applying the mythology and magic or the mythical characters into the wildlife conservation. Thank you so much. Okay, Rob, I'm ready to take up questions.
Thank you, Arpita. Now, before we begin with the question and answer session, I would like to remind everyone that you can submit your questions via the question field in your control panel. So at the beginning of the webinar, you said that India had lost 55% of something. Could you clarify what they lost? I think some of us might have missed it.
No, this is not in India. I'm talking about the world population. It's not not only in India. So almost 55% of the world's wildlife has disappeared in last 45 to 50 years.
Thank you for
So
clarifying that.
yeah, so that would be starting from the maybe the lower group of animals. For an example, from frogs to, of course, we know the white rhinos out there, and yeah, I mean there are a lot more, and they are more into critically endangered species are also there, which we might lose in coming few years.
So when the slow loris and others are released into the wild, are they put in places that are safer in terms of being caught by those who would harm it or predators?
Yes, they are released back to the protected areas, and also at the same time they are released back to those areas where those tribes live who believe that even looking at them is can bring mixed fortune, because they don't do anything to that animal, so they are safe because of their belief.
Do young people in India still hold these mythological beliefs of owls?
uh, young India, when we talk about, then mostly not in the cities, the young people know, but because in the rural areas, that's what I say, the knowledge is the power. They are deprived from a lot of outside world of the knowledge and stuff. So in the rural areas, or in many in areas like that, they do believe, and this belief is passing from generation to generation. But yeah, it is much less, or it is getting better than what was there before, I mean 100 years back, that is for sure.
Have there been any issues with the family that feeds the hyenas?
There are few records have been, I mean, in that area, not only with the family, but what I have read is there were few instances where people got killed by the hyenas. They were like attack, and maybe they got frightened, and um, they died, and they started scavenging on it. But because of the belief and that evil spirit and thing they have in their mind, they are kind of adjusting, or they are kind of coexisting with the hyenas out there.
Thank you, Arpita. That's going to be the last question that we have for today. So I'd like to hand it back to you for your closing comments.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here and listening to this. And I hope something might come to your mind, and you also put some effort to conservation and bring some new ideas so that we can put these ideas into conservation. And thank you so much, Rob, for hosting today, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care.
Arpita, thank you so much for taking the time to present for us today. And I would also like to thank everyone who tuned in today. If you're interested in information on how you can travel with NatHab, give us a call at the number on your screen, or send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us tomorrow for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.